Well, I'd like to welcome everybody today. If you don't know me, I'm Bob Nichols, one of the funeral directors here, and we're very honored to assist Dan's family here with his visitation, his memorial service. A lot of people coming through today. It's very nice. I think the cold weather didn't stop anybody from coming in. So anybody that wants to speak, we're going to take turns and come up to the microphone. We're being recorded so we can watch this online later, and there's people that couldn't be here. Like one of his brothers, they're going to watch it later online. We'll have it put online Monday. So anyway, I'd like to invite Stella to come up and talk first.
Hi, I'm a little bit nervous because I didn't write anything down. I kind of planned on writing something down, but here we are. I would just like to say that I think that my grandfather was a really nice man. I don't know, he was so sweet, and I remember how important he was to everybody, my grandma, me, my sister, well, my cousin, all of his friends. He loved his friends. He loved my mom, Rachel and Emily and Aaron. But I thought that I would share some funny times with my grandpa because that always cheers me up when I think about it. I could start with him and Grandma would always scream, "Ha, ha, ha, ha," every time they see one. That's my favorite thing about them. That's like the thing that they share together. When I was a little kid, I was like, why are you guys always scared about ha? It's a bird. But I get it, honestly, yeah. You guys love to have that thing with each other. That's great. My favorite one here. Every time he would make up an excuse. Like, we would just be talking to him, and then out of nowhere, he's like, I'm gonna go say hi to the cat outside. And he goes out the front door, he closes the door, and he'll be out there for a few seconds, and he'll come back inside, and I'm like, what were you doing out there? Oh, I went to fart. That was his favorite thing, and he'd do the same thing at the store too. He'd run off. He'd be like, "I'm gonna go look at something real quick," and he'd run off for a little bit, and I'd go chase him down because Grandma's like, "Find your grandpa," and so I'd go chase him down, and he's like, "So I needed to get away. I'm a little gassy." Okay. He always made funny dad jokes. Those are my favorite. But I can't specifically remember like specific ones, but he always threw those at me. I don't know, he was a good man. I'm gonna miss him a lot. But yeah, I remember a lot of the times I would sit in the garage with him and I'd take the broom and I'd just start singing all the songs or dancing to the songs, and he'd be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm just over here, whoo, whoo. And it was just fun to hang out with him. And he wouldn't care if I was in there for 1 minute or 1 hour or 3 hours or 4 hours. He didn't really care if I bothered him all day. And it was nice to bother him sometimes. Because Grandma would get annoyed at me sometimes, so she'd be like, "Okay, bother Grandpa now." So, I don't know. I am gonna miss him though. I didn't have anything planned to say, so I think that's all I'm gonna say today. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Stella. Very nice. Very nice. So I understand that Dan was one heck of a mechanic. Really knew what he was doing around cars and stuff. And he was a Studebaker man like I am, so I appreciate that too. So who else would like to speak next?
Me. Anybody?
If you want to, be thinking about what you want to say, and you can come up in a few minutes. All yours.
Hello. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Denny's brother, Oliver.
Little brother.
There she goes again. And I meant a few words. I don't converse very well with everything, but I will speak about my brother a little bit. Denny was a proud man. Denny was a stubborn man. And Denny liked to do things his way. And I'll no longer have him to go talk about what's wrong with my cars. And I annoyed the hell out of him for that. And bothered him, but he would always take care of me, and I will no longer have that with him no more. And just not having him around is going to be very difficult. He loved to work on his cars. He loved to talk about his car. I remember the first time we were in high school, and he tore the distributor out of my car. And I was so mad. I thought, she ain't never going to get that back in there. He never going to run again. But yeah, he did. He got it back in, and everything was fine. So, but that's how I'm always going to remember him. I'm not here to mourn him. I'm here to memorialize him because I got my Hemi hat on, and I thought I want to remember him as him talking. If he's here right now, he'd be talking about cars constantly. So, and so that's it for me, and that's all. So.
Thank you.
That was good.
Thank you. You're probably one of the people that's known him the longest. So, very good. Who else would like to mention something? Maybe a funny story or whatever. Well, I know Rosie wanted to say a few words, and she told me I had to cut her off so she didn't go all day. So, Rosie, you want to talk for a minute? Okay.
I'll take a turn at it.
You want, get up here if you want to take the mask off. It'd be easier to hear you.
First of all, thank all of you for being here. I am so thankful for being part of this family. And we have really been on an adventure. Oliver put it right in so many ways. Dan was proud. We never had much of anything. What we did have, he made. And he was proof, if anything, that you could be up there with the big boys and not have a lot of money. My kids might argue with you on this, but they never laughed. He made sure that we knew if we needed something, we could count on him. And he was always there for us, whether it was just to get an opinion, and by God, he had an opinion about everything. If we needed advice, if we needed help, I could break down any place in this country, and if I called him, he'd be there. And he took such good care of us, and he cared so much about all of us. And he wanted to make sure that these kids and grandkids knew in these last few months, it wasn't because he didn't care. It wasn't because he didn't love them. He just could not have them come any closer than the room that he was in, come to the doorway. He couldn't tolerate catching one more thing because it was just blow after blow after blow. And he didn't intend to leave us when he did. We just had an awful lot of good, simple times. He loved a good piece of pie. He loved looking for the best tenderloin, and again, he had his opinions. It didn't matter. in case you haven't heard it, I've said it time and time and time again. He loved to tell people, I'm retired now. He worked 4 days a week. He worked 7 hours on those 4 days, 7 hours a day. And he didn't just punch a clock. He brought tractor home with him, and he'd think about something and say, I'll be right back, and take off and go to the shop and look for the best deal on parts. He wanted to do the best for everybody. And if we needed something, he knew how to go out and work for it. My God, we lived in the country, and Aaron would make every excuse in the book on why he couldn't get out there and chop wood, or he couldn't carry firewood, or this or that or the other. And Dan and I'd get out and do it. And he was just a good guy. Not everybody thought he was Mr. Wonderful, and not everybody thought he was just the best guy in the world, but he was honest with them. And if he liked somebody and if he respected him, he sure made it known. He made it known. And again, he was very appreciative of the people that took good care of him too. I stopped Stacy Bell before she left here, and I said again, I hope we always have our hospital here, because they have patched him up or kept him safe until he could get someplace for help. But I knew if we could get to the ER that they would take care of us from there. And I'm so appreciative of that, and I do not want this hospital to close. We're coming on some weird times, and I don't want to lose that. I hope that it's available for everybody, because this last year, Tipton Hospital has helped him keep going. I know someone was confused again today and said, I didn't know he served in Vietnam, and I said he most certainly did not. He was Vietnam era. And he always acted a little bit ashamed about that. He said there were guys who went and served and came home, and some didn't. But he always felt a little bad. He wouldn't join the VFW. He wouldn't go to the Legion. He wouldn't do those things. But he was very much an American. We'd go to the car shows, and they'd stop at noon and play. I told him, please don't play taps here, because I can't handle it. And I appreciate all of you for being here. Every face I see here, it's somebody that he cared about. And I thank you for being here.
Rosie?
Yeah.
Oh, something I'm going to say to you. Thank you for taking care of my brother.
Oh,
Thank you very
I'm
much.
telling you, the reunions, and here we go.
Well, too.
When Dan and I were first together, I said, there's something you have to understand. We're a package deal. I had a little boy, and my son had a dad, and he made it known to my husband he had a dad, and he would have his weekends with the Epp family, and they were fine, fine people. They loved that child. He was number one. He was the number one grandchild, because he was the first one born, and the only grandchild that they ended up ever having was Aaron. And Aaron would come home and he'd say, I have a dad. Dan always knew, and I said, don't ever think that you can have me make a choice. We won't go there. We won't do that. And he took such good care of Aaron. And through all the trips that we made to Riley, because Aaron was diagnosed with juvenile diabetes, and we made trips to Riley and we'd be gone. And we had babies, and if Aaron needed something, we had to do that. That was immediate. It was immediate. All of our kids, all 4 of them, they knew they could count on him. And back in the early days, God, it was so much fun. We'd go to Margie's and Johnny's, and Sundays you just went to Mom and Dad's, and it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if you were family. It wouldn't matter if you were blood. It wouldn't matter if it was the first time you'd been there. It was, come on in. Got a plate for you. We held food for you all day long, all through the day. Margie would get those electric skillets and plug those things in, and there would be food all the way through there. You know.
No one ever left hungry.
Oh, God, no. And there was always a plate for somebody. There was always a plate for somebody. Those were just the best times, and I said, even when we broke up, I miss those Sundays. Everybody was welcome. It didn't matter who you were. It didn't know if they'd never seen you before. It was, come on in, come on in. And it was both sides of the family. It was Margie's side and Johnny's side. They were all like that. Everybody was welcome. And when Claire May died and the reunion stopped, it was heartbreaking. Danny fell apart. And I said, you'll still see these people. And he said, running into somebody in the Walmart is different. I want to have these times where we just sit around and talk, where we just tell a joke and we don't care if it's a dirty one or not. This is a good family, and I'm so proud of all of you. We came on some rough times. And Dan was still there for all of us. Yeah. And just loved you through it and hoped that everybody would come out on the other side. You don't want me going down that path, but Dan Sprinkle did it his way. When he decided that alcohol was too much for him, he could have continued. There were times when they'd lock up the bar and leave him inside because they wanted to go home. When he was done, he was done. And I have no idea how anybody can have that kind of a constitution and that kind of ability to do that. But that's who he was. And he had a hard time understanding those who couldn't do that. And sometimes not a whole lot of patience with people who couldn't do that. And I'm just amazed that he could. Because he wouldn't do it for me. I was ready a long time before he was ready. But he did it. And I know that he wished that for all of our kids too. And I'm hoping like hell that they can. But if they don't, that's the same thing I told him when he wasn't ready. I'll still be here. And I'll wait for you. But I hope you do it before it's too late for you. Now I'm done. And somebody else better have something funny to say.
Thank you very much. Anybody else like to have a few words, share something with everyone here?
God, I talk a lot.
It was fine. It was fine. Okay, well, a very simple service, and we're going to wrap up saying the Lord's Prayer together. So if you follow with me, please. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the glory, and the power forever. Amen. Thank you all for coming, and you're welcome to stay around and talk until the snow flies. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.